Do you feel like you don't have time to scratch yourself? Don't know how it got from 10 in the morning to 4 in the afternoon? Then you need to watch this. Hi, my name is Charlie and I want to show you how this new innovative product from Monocure 3D can save you time and money. I don't know anyone who doesn't want to do that. There always seems to be those filling jobs that need to be done around the house, on the boat, the car, sport equipment, hobby and craft projects. Well, actually, the list is nearly endless. Remember the last time you walked down the aisle at the hardware store and was bombarded by the huge range of putties, two-part epoxies, urethanes, building bogs, expanding fillers, fiberglass kits, and then some claim to be heavy-duty, waterproof, UV-resistant, rapid cure, multi-purpose, flexible, sandable, paintable, only for interior use? Confused? Well, I don't blame you. I knew there had to be a faster, easier way. The mission was simple. Let's develop a product that had the ideal consistency with no need for complicated measuring or weighing, no messy mixing, no limited work times. It needed to be suitable for both indoor and outdoor use, could be applied to most surfaces, had to be resistant to water and UV rays, easy to sand and paint, but most importantly, I didn't want to have to waste time waiting for it to dry. It sounded nearly impossible. Well, thanks to my R&D team, years of lab development and comprehensive field testing, well now there's only one product you ever need. Say hello to IncredaFILL. This unique single-part filler was developed in Australia by Aussies who have better things to do than weighing, mixing and waiting for their filler to dry. It uses the advanced technology of UV light to cure and set in an instant. Okay, let me show you how this works. I've got my wife's watering can here. I really hope she's not watching this. And you can see if I tip it like this, it pours as it normally should. So now what I'm going to do, without even drying it, I'm going to put IncredaFILL on it and I'm going to show you how quickly it can be cured. First thing we need to do though, always safety first when you're using any UV curable products. We always recommend that you wear safety glasses and you put on safety gloves. Make sure that you're in a well-ventilated area. We take a small scoop of IncredaFILL out of the tub. Without even drying it, I'm just going to smooth it over the top and fill in those holes. This is not something that has any real practical use, but I'm just showing you how quickly this product can cure in an instant with the UV light. If you haven't seen it before, it can be quite amazing. Now we take the UV light, straight away you can see that's already curing in about, I'm going to give it another 5 seconds. Now that is cured. You don't believe me? Well, check this out. Wow, just like magic. I'd like to see you do that with any other filler paste in 15 seconds. Now let's go through some real life uses because I keep doing this with my wife's watering can. I'm not going to be married for very long. So what have we got here? Plasterboard. This is one of my least favorite building materials and unfortunately it's actually used in most buildings throughout Australia and probably the world. It's a very simple construction with 2 pieces of cardboard sandwiching some plaster. Now the issue is this is incredibly soft and really easy to damage. Here we've got a big scratch. So I'm going to show you how easy and quick it is to fill these with IncredaFILL. Let's start with this scratch here. It's a pretty big gouge. You could have given it a quick sand beforehand, but all I'm doing is I'm working the paste along and filling the hole as well as I can. Now for a really deep hole, we can do this in layers. We don't need to go too deep with the light and penetrate. So now we hit it with the UV light and we're curing back and forth. So you can do it in a zigzag pattern or just slowly across the whole thing. Really it takes 2 to 3 seconds for the very surface, 10 to 15 seconds to get down deep. So you'll see that there is absolutely rock hard and cured, okay? And in fact, that's so rock hard and cured, that's ready for sanding, which is pretty impressive considering that's only taken me a few minutes. With a light sand, back and forth over the top. So as you can see, in less than a minute, I have filled that, I've cured it, I've sanded it, and now it's ready for painting. That's pretty impressive. So here's a dent, very typical of plasterboard. Again, really easily fixed. Come over here, some IncredaFILL, we fill the hole. Now what I'll do here is I'm going to show you how we can do a double pass very, very quickly. So I slightly underfill that. That's okay. I've underfilled it on purpose. I'm going to come over here and just cure that one spot. There's nothing worse than having to sand off excess filler. We now get the IncredaFILL and we come back over. That's now a dry surface, so it's got something to go onto. Unlike other fillers, that would just all start pushing out because the other filler's not dry. Again, we can hit that with a light. rock hard and ready to be sanded. A hole like this is a challenge. So the other day, my son had a friend over. He slammed the door open in the bedroom. The door handle went straight through the plasterboard. It can happen so easily because this stuff really is soft. To fix something like this, you really need a patch like this. Now you can get these from the local hardware store and they're really easy to apply. You literally just pop it over the hole. This one's obviously a bit big. You could cut it to be a bit smaller and you just literally place that over the hole. Not going to look great. We need to smooth that off and sand it. So I'm going to take the IncredaFILL again. I'm going to just go over the top of this with some IncredaFILL. How easy that is to smooth on and go over. Just applying a very thin coat, a smooth coat. You can just keep smoothing that until you're happy. The one thing you've got to love about IncredaFILL, as I'm doing this, don't be worried about doing it fast. It will not dry until the UV light hits it and cures it. I could leave this over the weekend, come back on Monday morning, and it's still going to be wet like this, and go change my mind saying, actually, I don't want to do that anymore, and take the whole thing off without any issues whatsoever. As I say, unless the light hits it, it doesn't cure. Plenty of time to work, no problems there. I'm going to do this as a zigzag pattern, just a slow zigzag across in total. So if you do a couple of passes, that's usually enough. Now that has to be the most amazingly quick patch job you have ever seen. That is cured, rock hard, and ready to sand. So a couple of quick sands, I'm painting that and I'm going to the pub for a beer. That's ready to go. The other thing I want to mention about doing the whole wall of a house, we have inbuilt into IncredaFILL a product that we call Spot Glow. Now what Spot Glow allows you to do is to do a whole wall. So rather than having to fill and cure and fill and cure as you go, this way, do all your filling and all your smoothing, so it'll actually glow with this light and wearing these glasses, and so you can see exactly where you put it. So the next thing we've got here, guys, is a piece of marine ply. Got some little countersunk holes here. So I just want to show you what I like to call spot curing. So I've got spot glowing and now spot curing. Now you can't do this with any other filler paste, and I'll show you what I mean. So if you come along here, you fill this hole, overfill that, and put quite a lot on the outside there. You could cut a template out of a piece of cardboard and place it over that hole and cure just that section there, which what that's going to do is leave all the outside section uncured. What does that mean? Well, let me show you. I'm going to get my torch into the right size spot. Just for 10 seconds or so, we're going to hold it over that spot there. Now, as I said, if you had an unusual shape, you could cut out a piece of cardboard or another piece of timber and use that as a template. Now watch this. With a spray of isopropyl alcohol or methylated spirits, I can now just simply wipe the edges of that which weren't cured clear. Now, how much time is that going to save me with sanding? I don't know about you, but I've got better things to do with my time than sit there and sand. A really, really good feature of IncredaFILL. So imagine if this had to be filled with a two-part epoxy or a urethane or a builder's bog or one of those. You'd have to get the two parts, you'd have to measure it or weigh it, you'd have to mix it together, and then you'd have to fill it. Now with IncredaFILL, you simply take the pot, fill the hole, and cure it. So I don't know about you, but I reckon that's a lot quicker than mixing, weighing, measuring, and messing around with two-part products. And don't for 1 second think there's not enough strength in this to compare to those. This is a very, very tough urethane base and microparticles to make it super hard and super tough. So just give that a wipe and then just sand it. Great. Once you sand something, you can see if you're slightly under. Again, if you wanted to, you could very simply just touch that up, cure it, and you're done. That's filling holes. You can see that there. What's the other thing you'd like to do with a piece of timber like this? Well, I know sometimes I don't really feel like sanding that flat. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to skim coat it. We just come through here and we would give it a very, very thin coat and we'll smooth it until we're happy. Now, the smoother you get it at this point here, the easier it's going to be when you sand it. And make sure you get as many lines out as possible. In a zigzag pattern, we're just going to cure this within a couple of seconds. Now that's given the timber water resistance. Even though it's marine ply, it always wants water resistance. But in this case here, what I'm trying to do, just smooth it off. Okay, so that's going to give me a really smooth like finish. If I did this whole piece and sanded it, all right, you're not going to even know that that's timber. And all done with one pot in a couple of minutes. Pretty impressive stuff, isn't it? All right, so what have we got next? Let's have a look. Ah, the old live bait tubes. A friend of mine, Harry, he does a lot of boat repairs. He gave me this. It had a few spider cracks in it. Harry was part of the testing team with IncredaFILL. He absolutely loves it. He uses it for a lot of his boat repairs. Here's a spider crack. You can see we've actually used a portable Dremel to grind out spider cracks just to give it a little bit more depth, and that really helps the IncredaFILL to stick into this gel coat here. Full disclosure guys, I'm certainly not a boat repairing expert. I'll leave that up to Harry. This is just showing you how IncredaFILL works and how quickly and easily it can be done. I'm just going to give this gel coat a little sand. You can see here it's quite smooth. I'm just going to use my electric sander here just to take off that shine. Okay, so apart from that making a lot of noise, you can see it's obviously left a lot of dust around, so we want to use a tack rag to get the dust off. Just give that a little wipe through there. No need to fuss with it. Come through with your tub of IncredaFILL, like what we've been doing before. The better you do at this part here, the less sanding you're going to have later. So you're not working under any time pressure here, so take your time and do it properly, and don't leave excess material on that you don't need. With IncredaFILL, you're a lot better off underfilling it, curing it, realizing where you're low, and just topping it up. So double check the surface. There's no big blobs or anything anywhere that's going to cause me issues later. I'm now going to use a LED torch. You can see that there, the spot glow. You can see it just popping off that white. And it really easily shows you exactly where the IncredaFILL has gone and where it needs to be cured. It's quite a deep little well there. I'm going to give this a few extra seconds, a little bit longer than normal, just to make sure that's cured through. As you can see, that's 100% dry and ready for sanding. Now I can feel that's a little bit low in spots. I could go back and top that up. I want to show you what you can't do with normal single part filler, which are usually water-based. Yes, they're relatively quick to dry. You can't spray it and wipe it, because it would all just fall straight out. And I'm going to do it again by sanding. So you can see there, that's a very, very quick job. And as I said, I could have gone back over and touched it up a little bit. I'm pretty happy with that, and I'm pretty sure Harry will be happy with that. He's probably now going to give it a bit more of a sand and treatment and then use his gel coat over the top of it. I know now that that repair there, certainly as strong as a gel coat, if not as a fiberglass, and it's going to last a very long time. Obviously that's going to get coated and painted, but even still that's a very, very solid surface. After it's sanded, we can give it a spray, and I've got no concerns about that falling out or flaking or doing anything silly. So that's ready to go. There you go, Harry. You can have this back now, mate. It only took me a few minutes. I'm sure you would have done a much better job. I just wanted to show how easy it is to do that sort of repair with IncredaFILL. Make sure when you do any sanding, always wear some sort of a mask, dust mask. This one that you can get from the local hardware store is really good. It's got the single filter. It's going to make sure that you're not going to get the particles into your lungs. So that's really important. So just get a bit of air in here. Where's the window winder? Oh, it's already down. That's lucky. Okay, you can see here we've already done a little bit of priming. So this would have been taken back to the metal and then primed with the MTM primer filler. Lots of different primers out there. We sell this one at Monocure. It's a good idea to use a primer on any surface. It's a good way for the IncredaFILL to adhere. So we'll put this flat now. Okay, so just going to give that a light sand. I can't use the alcohol on that because it's going to wipe it off, so I'm just going to go over with a rag with just some water in it or nothing. Got the dust off it so we can get the IncredaFILL to adhere to that primer. Okay, then we're going to take a scoop of the IncredaFILL out, and again I'm just going to come over here with the IncredaFILL. Slightly underfill this so I can get the best cure. So come back with the torch and I'm curing. You see the spot glow go off there. It doesn't really matter how close you go with the light or how far away you go. It cures it pretty much the same. What will cure it much faster, of course, is the sun. Don't be afraid if you've got a part that you do a lot of IncredaFILLing and you want to cure it in the sun. There's no problem whatsoever with that. Take it outside. The sun does a really good job of getting really deep. It cures it very fast. For example, you're doing a whole helmet like that. Do one side depending on where the sun is and turn it around and do the other side. You can see there, that's 100% cured. Did underfill that slightly, so I'm going to come back over with a little bit more IncredaFILL to to get that next layer up. If I was curing this outside, I probably wouldn't have much of a problem in doing that. Disclaimer again, I'm certainly no car body expert. As you can probably tell, rough, quick job just to show you what is possible. And I know you guys out there who do this every day will do a much better, cleaner job. Just giving you the idea of the possibilities of this product and how quickly you can do a repair like this without having to pre-mix or bother with water-based products that are just not going to be tough or as strong as this. So another few seconds here with a light to get that layer done. I'm happy with that. Just going to give that a little bit of a spray with the IPA. You can see straight away it loses that sort of tacky look, and you're going back to the urethane base and a perfect surface for sanding. If you're going to sand using wet and dry paper, I know personally I love to use this wet and dry paper when sanding anything because it lasts for so much longer. Also, it keeps the dust levels down. When you do any sort of sanding, we always recommend that you start with a high grit paper such as 80 or 120 and then work your way up to even go as high as 1200 if you want something to look really, really smooth and polished before you sand it. This is a very hard surface. Starting this with a 600 grit paper, you're going to be here for a long time. You've also got the electric sander option. Don't be afraid to use an electric sander on the initial part and then go by hand. You're doing anything that you want flat, always try and use a block of some sort. There you have it. You can see that there's no problems with that. Adhering, a little bit of sanding and another prime and a paint, and there's the car door repair finished. So it's a lot quicker and stronger than using traditional methods. The UV light that this torch emits is 405 nanometers. I have done a little bit of research and apparently it is no more dangerous than going outside on a bright sunny day. As always, recommend that you wear the glasses, and just as you go outside, you should wear sunglasses too. So there you have it, guys. You name it, IncredaFILL can fill it in the blink of an eye. Let's have a look what comes with the kit. Everything you need to get started. The tub of IncredaFILL, of course. There's a UV 400 safety glasses, a 405 torch, USB charger for the 18650 battery, and of course a few little scrapers there to get you started. Inside here you can see some instructions, some handy tips and general directions. If you don't need the whole kit and you've already got a torch or you're happy to cure in the sun, we do sell the refill pot on its own. We also sell the torch on its own, the filling blades on their own, and all the other accessories as well, but you might just want to buy the pot, and without the kit, that's absolutely fine. Don't waste your time waiting anymore. IncredaFILL is the only filler you need in your cupboard.